Hello pretties, welcome to Visceral. So 3 times the charm. I'm gonna try and film this video third time today. That's the reason why I would have my eyes done. I used the Persona Identity 2 palette. I just if I can open it, there you go. I just put a little bit of this on my crease, put this in the outer corner, and then just this all over the lid, which is Loyal, Limitless, and Independent. And yeah, so that's what's happening. I did already prime, so that's good to go. So let's just get started. I do want to start out by saying that the live action is not nearly as good as the animated version. Like, they're just completely different movies. And I think that was my issue, because I ended up watching the movie twice, and the reason for it was because I watched it the first time kind of comparing it to the animated version, and I don't think that was fair to this movie. Although I feel like the movie made it really hard not to compare it, because they were trying, they did a lot of things where they were kind of like referencing the animated movie, but that's not what they were trying to do. Like, that's not who they are, and I feel like I kind of wish they hadn't, but oh well. Nothing I can do about that, right? I wasn't there. But if I was there, I would have told them that would have been a dumb idea, but oh well. And what I mean by that is, like, you guys know this is not a musical, so there's not none of the songs, but there was a time where one of the officers tells them, "I'm gonna make man out of y'all," or "I'm gonna make man out of you," and I was like, so you're not gonna have a song and you're just gonna have this guy do this instead. I was like, cool. Then there was, you know, the song where they're like saying like what their ideal woman is. I can't think of the name of that song at this time. That song. And so instead of singing the song, they just kind of had a time where they were kind of talking about it. So even though they weren't singing it, they were still communicating about it. So that was strange. But that's not even, that didn't even bother me as much as you may think. What bothered me the most was the whole Mushu situation, because I do think that Eddie Murphy's Mushu was amazing, and I think if they were to have done this live action version with Mushu in it, I don't think it would have taken out of the story. It would have been just a little bit closer to what the animated version is. Which I will say, out of all the remakes into live action, this is the version that is by far like the furthest from the animated version. Like The Lion King, it was almost the same thing. It was literally almost the same thing. I think they added a couple of scenes here and there. That's about it. I'm trying to think of, like, Beauty and the Beast was, again, almost the exact same thing. Okay, I started watching the Cinderella one, but I didn't finish that one, so I'm not a good example for that one. Aladdin was pretty damn close. They made some huge changes to Jasmine, obviously, but again, pretty damn close to the story. This was completely different stories, and I think that's how you have to see it. That's why I ended up having to watch it a second time, because the first time I was comparing to the animated, and I was like, what is this? And then when I started just kind of looking at it as another version of Mulan, I was okay with it. That being said, I have watched multiple versions of Mulan. In fact, this is like my 3rd or 4th version of Mulan I've seen. My favorite one is actually not a happy ending. The dogs are like playing right outside. Give me a sec. Okay. So my favorite Mulan version is so far from the animated version, it's not even recognizable. It's actually kind of sad, and it does not have a happy ending at all. But it's a good version of Mulan. I think it's a more realistic version of Mulan. And so that's kind of what I was expecting of this one, so I was okay with all of the differences and everything they were making, because I was thinking, oh, we're gonna get a more realistic Mulan. But then they had this witch character. So I'm like, if you had this witch character, why couldn't you have Mushu? Like, that blew my mind. That's the thing that bothered me the most, is I was like, why would you get rid of Mushu and instead put this like lady character that was like awkward. I don't know how to say it. Like, she was just kind of awkward. Now, I do like the things that she brought to the picture. I don't think they explained very well, but I think what they were trying to say is, like, this could have been Mulan. Like, that's what they were trying to do. Like, this could have been, like, worst case scenario for her. She could have become her. She could have become rogue and become this kind of person. And I do like how they kind of made that look. But at the same time, I just feel like if they had her, they could have had Mushu. And that's what I was most upset about. I was like, where's Mushu? I want Mushu, and there is no Mushu. And that's all I thought about the entire time I was watching the movie. But anyway, yeah. Other than that, made a lot of really big character changes. So, again, they got rid of Mushu, but instead they had this, like, phoenix kind of figure that was kind of, like, showing her, like, the way, like, the right way, where she should be going, but wasn't actually interacting with her, just kind of, like, I don't know. She was, the little phoenix character just kind of showed up from here and there. They got rid of Cricket, but had, or as an actual Cricket, but they had like a live version human Cricket who they said was lucky. Well, he said he was lucky, or his mom told him he was lucky because of whatever, and they named him Cricket. And I was like, okay. I just kind of went with it. I was like, no, that's fine. He didn't really bring much to the picture. He was kind of really cute though. Not like as in good looking, but like just the character was really adorable, and so I wasn't particularly upset about that. They did change the commander. Instead of being the commander, the love interest is somebody else that he's that he is working with, which I do think makes it a little bit easier to think, because I did think it was a little hard to believe it before that this officer was gonna fall for this just random person. I do like that they made Mulan not be bad at fighting at the beginning, because I know that that's one of the things that they did in the animated version, and I'm kind of glad they didn't, because every other version of Mulan that I've seen, she already knew how to fight, which made her even better, and that's kind of similar what they did. They did put in the element of the she. I think I'm pronouncing that wrong, but essentially it makes you more aware of your surroundings, and it's almost like a sixth sense, and apparently only men are supposed to wield it, specifically warriors. Like, the best warriors are the ones that have this she, and if women have it, then they're viewed as outcasts and witches. Hence why the hawk girl character was, oh, it officially broke. It was meant to happen. These things are so cheap from Essence, but they're super affordable. That's what you get, right? The powder itself is not bad. I'm really just trying to use it up. I don't hate it. I don't love it. I just want to use it up and just be done with it. Anyway, so they bring the element of she, and hence that's why the woman was really, really good with she, to the point where she was able to do more things than any man could. And she was extremely good, and she always wanted to be viewed as a warrior, and she couldn't, but then saw herself in Mulan, because Mulan was able to do what she couldn't, which was become a warrior and become acknowledged by man. So that happened. There's literally no other way for it, but that happened. Alright. So Cricket. They don't have Cricket no more. The commander is now officially an old man, and the guy that's supposed to be the love interest is just some random guy that we've never really met before. Then you still have like the Ling, Tempo, and Xiao. So you still have them, which I thought was pretty nice, because I did always like them, and they were pretty similar in the live action version, which I do enjoy that. They don't have the grandmother, but they have the sister instead, which I was like, I don't think the sister was necessary in the picture, except just to compare her to Mulan, and like what they wanted Mulan to be, but wasn't, which I thought was a little strange, but whatever. I guess she served her purpose. She was very unforgettable, whereas I think the grandmother was really fun and kind of like natural to be around. And this still wasn't. She just didn't have the same, I didn't have the same expectations for her. But that's fine. I think that's like all the major character changes that they make. I personally wasn't upset about any of them. I do want to talk about the villain, because I saw a review by Jeremy Jans, and he kind of made it, I guess in his mind, he thought that the Hawk lady was supposed to be a villain. I don't think she was a villain. And I do think they focused a little bit on her, but they didn't focus on her too much where I think it took away from the story. I don't think that was the situation at all. So if you were a little concerned about that, be assured it's fine. They don't talk about her too much, and they do it, they don't. I actually kind of liked her as a character. I'm only concerned, the only thing I was upset about her being in there is that they had her and not Mushu. And now I'm repeating myself. So let's move on. Let's just move on. I really did like the action scenes. I think the action scenes looked pretty good, and I did enjoy them. And there were some really cool like camera shots throughout the entire time. There was definitely some times where you could tell they were using CGI, and I don't want to say that it took away from the movie, but I mean, it was noticeable. It was definitely noticeable. I know that looks really harsh. I'll fix that in a second. The fact that it was noticeable, that didn't really bother me. Honestly, what was most awkward for me with this movie was just how cringy some scenes were. There were some extremely cringy movies. Like, when they were doing the, you know, what's your favorite kind of woman? That was so cringy. Or when she was, like, walking inside the tomb with all the other men for the first time. So cringy. So cringy. Her talking like a man, like with trying to speak with a deeper voice for the first time. So cringy. There were just so many very, very cringy moments, and those were hard for me to swallow because I don't do well with cringe. I know some people love watching cringy moments. That's not me. I find them so awkward. I just kind of like get these, like, you know, like the chills. They give me the chills, and I'm just like, I don't want to watch that. So that took away from me from the movie more than anything. I did like the villain, and I kind of got like a little crush on him, not gonna lie. And it's sad because I didn't think he was attractive. It was one of those like bad boy crushes. He was kind of like a real badass, and I kind of got a crush on him on that. But I don't know, that's a little weird. He was, like I said, he was not good looking, but I got like a bad boy crush on him. It was like, it's kind of real badass, and I like it. I do wish that they would have given him more screen time and made him a little bit more menace, because it didn't feel like he was the main villain. And I think that's where, like what Jeremy was saying with like the other woman, it kind of felt like she was the villain as well, but she wasn't. She was not the main villain, and I don't think they villainized her at all. And I think that kind of took a, but they did give her that screen time that otherwise would have been the villain screen time. So I just don't think like we got to see as much of him as we could have seen. And then they also referenced a lot of, like, I guess previous events, that there was a war against these people once before, which the Chinese won. But they just kind of referenced it here and there, and I kind of wish they would have shown a little bit more about it, because it was apparently very important. That was the whole reason why they came to attack them in the first place. But we never really got too much of an explanation about it, and I kind of wish to see a little bit more, but it's okay. I kind of just want to see a little more, that's all. I did like, I don't know about you guys, but in the animated version, my favorite part of the entire movie is when they're in the training camp. The training camp is just so much fun. So much fun. And it's still just as entertaining here. And we had to see some really cool fighting scenes, and we got to let to know some of the characters. And I really, really enjoyed it. Like, that was by far my favorite part of the entire movie. A lot of powder, I know. and my blush looks a little crazy. I know. Give it a second. It'll come together. There you go. There you go. We're coming along. And yeah, you know, the training camp was so much fun. Just seeing all the characters having a good time, seeing them struggle was really fun and entertaining, and I enjoyed it. I really did. I thought it was really fun. I think it was funny that they were saying, like, Mulan was so scared to shower with all the men, so she wouldn't, and so she didn't, and everybody was like, girl, you stink. They didn't say girl, but like, apparently she like smelled really badly. Okay, I need concentration for this. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I'm almost done. I feel like I'm almost done. Am I almost done? I feel like I'm almost done. Okay, anyway, so let's just quickly recap. So I talked about the music, big difference about there. I'm okay with it. The scenery looked really pretty. I did like the characters. I thought they had really good chemistry between all of them, so that was pretty nice. I did enjoy that aspect of the movie. I really did enjoy all the fighting scenes were really great. Like, the fighting scenes were, I think, by far the best part of this movie. Hands down. Hands down, the best part. The characters got pretty good. Aside from them, even though like the two main characters, even though I think they had like really good chemistry, I don't think they had a lot of romance. And so kind of, the romance felt forced. The friendship 100% was there. And I was okay with that. It was just the romance part where I was like, I feel like you're forcing it. Give me a second. I had one of my dogs with me and they wanted him back. So I let him loose. So that was pretty good still. I did like the action. I think was really cool. It had some really cool scenes throughout. There's two things I want to say, and then I'm done. The first thing is, it did feel like it was a little bit like drawn out, especially towards the end of the second act, opening up into the first act. It just felt like unnecessary. Like, there's no other way to say it. It just felt unnecessary. I don't know that they needed to have... And I don't even know what they would have done differently, per se. It just felt long. It felt like it didn't have to be drawn out that way. So there's that. It just felt drawn out. And then the last thing is, they kind of left it like open-ended, and they kind of like hinted a little bit that there might be a second movie, because the main guy said towards the end of the movie to Mulan, it's like, you know, we'll definitely meet again. And I was like, okay, but does that mean there's gonna be like a second movie? And at the very end of the movie, oh, this part made me cringe so bad. They were having like their family reunion in front of like everyone in the village. And I was like, why are you doing that in front of everybody in the village? Can we not do it in front of everybody in the village? Because that was super cringy. I don't know what it was about that. It just made me cringe so hard. So hard. It was just cringe party. And I could have done without that. So there was that. Anyway, and then they came and like gave her all the imperial gifts at the end from the emperor, and kind of let the whole village and her family know that she was honorable and she saved the kingdom, and the emperor actually has asked her to become part of captain or leader or whatever you want to say from the royal guard, which is a huge honor. And they kind of hinted that she was gonna say yes, because the phoenix appeared just then and kind of telling her, yes, go Mulan, be this military person. So I don't know, there was small hints that there may be a second movie, and I don't know what the second movie would be about. And so that makes me nervous, because I pray to the gods, do not let it, I look like a Kim Possible character. Pray to the gods, do not let it be like the second animated Mulan movie, because that second animated Mulan movie just straight up sucked. There were cute parts about it. Okay, I had to stop talking to do that. but it just straight up sucked. It just did. It was not a good movie. It didn't have a storyline, and it sucked. So I really hope it's not a continuation of that. Like, pray to the gods. I kind of do want to see Mulan become like this badass captain or commander or general or something, because I think that's really cool. I just don't know how that's gonna look. I just, like, who's gonna be the enemy now? Like, why would she do that? Is she finally gonna have her and that guy gonna get together, or is there gonna be a new love interest, you know, presented? Like, how's that gonna happen? I don't understand. So, I don't know. Give me a sec. I do like the way makeup came out, but I do want to say that it looks a lot better on screen than it looks in person. In person, it looks a little cakey, but that's because of the powder I use. I would never use this powder underneath my eyes and all over my face. I would dust it a little bit, but I put way too much powder, and so it's very noticeable. It looks good on camera though, so I guess I'll let it be. And I just want to wrap this up because this is way too long as it is, so we gotta get through this. Overall, the movie was not bad. If you're comparing it to the animated movie, you will be disappointed, and that was what happened to me the first time I watched it. When I watched it the second time, and I kind of gave myself that leeway of, you know what, it's not gonna meet up to the expectations, let me just enjoy the ride. It was enjoyable. There was a lot of really cool scenery that they made. The fighting scenes were amazing, like really cool fighting scenes all together. There were times where they were showing the commander, kind of like showing them, you know, like it almost looked like art, but he was definitely showing them how to use the sword and just like fighting stances and things like that. And he was amazing. Then the actor is called Danny something. He was amazing. He was so good, so good. I feel like Jet Li was kind of like underused. Like, I just felt a little disappointed that he used him more. I kind of was expecting a little bit more out of him, but I guess the Emperor wasn't really in the movie much, and that's kind of what they did here. He used the Emperor, so not much I can expect from that. It is what it is. The girl that played Mulan, I did like her. I think she was very believable. I don't think she needed to wrap her breasts though, because she didn't really have any. I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but like, she really didn't. Like, she didn't need to do that binding that she did. I don't think she did it to do that. But whatever. I guess it kind of played along with the role. I didn't like that she's the one that turned herself in instead of like them finding out. I don't know what it is about that specific part that I kind of wish she hadn't done that, but it is what it is. Overall, I did enjoy the movie. It is not nearly as great. The music, it really sucked the life out of it, and I feel like if they were gonna go more realistic, I wish that they would have committed to that and not done the whole witch thing. The cheap part, I'm not even okay with that, because I would still think in Asian culture that could still, you know, kind of play along without being magical. But it was the whole hawk thing, but then there's no Mushu. I was like, that really bugged the hell out of me. If they would have at least had both, I would have been okay with it, but they just like they chose one magical element over the other, and I feel like they chose wrong. But overall, it wasn't that bad. It really wasn't that bad. It was actually kind of, I don't want to say that it was somewhere between like okay and good. Yeah, and that's all. I'm just gonna leave it at that. It was somewhere between okay and good. That's it. Alright, and I hope you enjoyed this, but don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.